If you want to learn how to make $100,000 income a year in car sales, listen to this video because the steps that I'm going to go over are going to help you make that six-figure income that you've always been wanting to make. Now, before you can make that income, there's specific things that you must master. Basic skills that you actually need to master. And I remember when I first started out in car sales, I had absolutely no coaching, nobody there to train me. My managers basically just threw me into the dealership and it was either sink or swim. Luckily, I had a foundation which enabled me to become successful. But through those trials and tribulations, there were some things that I learned and some things that I wish I had knew earlier that had took me on the trajectory to making a great income, great lifestyle. And this business has rewarded me bigger rewards than I ever thought that it could. And that's why I want to help you guys out there. Because if I can do it, you can do it as well. But you need to master these basic skills. Now, the first one is that you need to be able to make a friend. Okay? You got to master knowing how to make a friend. Remember, you might think you're in the car business. You're actually not in the car business. You're in the people business. Because nowadays, it's not like it was back in the day. Customers are more informed. Customers have their guard up. Customers think you're probably going to rip them off. And customers just have this bad notion in their brain about a car salesperson. They don't think they need a salesperson. But sometimes people don't know what they don't know. What people are looking for today is a great experience. And this is what I want you to focus on. I don't want you to focus on the sale. I want you to focus on giving the client a great experience. What type of experience are you going to bring them today? But you need to be able to master making a friend. When clients walk in, you have 5 to 10 seconds to make a good impression and instantly build rapport. If you don't like people, then you're in the wrong business. You're never going to succeed because people are going to feel that. But if you do like people, then you're in the right business. But the first 5 to 10 seconds is so important. So what I want you to do is I want you to master making a friend. How do you do that? Number one, what is your energy like? Do you have good energy? And do you have high energy? Do you have positive energy? Do you have a smile on your face? What type of first impression are you giving to that client? Now, you need to instantly build rapport. You need to show interest in that client, guys. And most of the time, people, it's so frustrating with salespeople because they talk more than they listen. And that is always going to be the downfall of that sale. People want to be heard. People want to be listened to. And people want to know that you're actually willing to listen to them. So you got to show a genuine interest in that client. You got to show that you care about that customer. And you got to focus on giving that client that customer experience that they're looking for and that they deserve. My second point now is mirroring. What do I mean by mirroring? Let's say an old couple walks in. Are you going to meet them the same way that you would a young couple? Are you going to meet them the same way that you would, let's say, somebody who's just turned 19 years old? Look, this is what you got to understand, and this is what's common sense. The person in front of you, you need to mirror the type of personality that they are. So first of all, you need to figure out what type of client that you're dealing with first. And typically, you will know that. Also, just like the customer is going to judge you in the first 5 to 10 seconds, you're also going to tee up your client as well in the first 5 to 10 seconds, okay? First, just like they're going to judge you by your first impression, you're going to judge them by their first impression. If it's an older couple, then you got to mirror them. You got to most likely slow things down. You got to be a little bit more calm. You got to be a little bit more gentle. Maybe your tone of voice needs to be a little bit lower. Maybe you're not that high energy like you are that you would be with like a 20-year-old. Okay, that's completely different energy. Just like I'm mirroring the client right now. So this is what I want you to learn to master. No client is the same. Don't treat every client the same. Every client is completely different. So the person that's in front of you, make sure you're mirroring them. And sometimes you can tell how to mirror them. Number one, if you can tell kind of approximately what their age is, what they dress like. Are they a professional? Are they a blue-collar worker? Their speeches are different. Everybody's going to be different. So at the end of the day, guys, don't treat every client the same. Become a master and mirroring your customers. Master asking questions. Look, guys, if you're speaking more than your client is, you're not going to sell them a car. You have to be the one that's asking the questions, not your customer. Number one, when you're the one who's asking questions, you're in control of that conversation. You can take that customer wherever they want from A to B to C of that sale. Okay? Now, most people, what they do, verbal diarrhea. They talk more than they should listen. When you keep talking, you're going to lose your customers. Look, customers want to be heard. And customers want to talk to somebody who's willing to listen to them. Now, the only way for you to do that is you need to master the art of asking questions. Okay? So whenever a client is with you, you ask a question and you wait for a response and you let the client speak. And questions also enable you to control the sale. Customer walks in, they sit down. Now, we talked about you not asking the client for their budget, you not asking clients about how much their monthly payment budget is, you not asking clients about what they want for their trade-in, you not asking clients how much money they have down, because those things don't matter. Now, sometimes customers will ask you, what are the objections that clients will ask you? They'll ask you, oh, by the way, what's your best price? How much can I get for my trade? Guess what? They won't even have a chance to ask you these questions if you ask the right questions. Client sits down, you start asking them the questions. Hey, Mr. Client, so what are some of the most important features to you? Yeah? How many kids are in the family? Perfect. Is it just you or a loved one who's going to be driving this car? Now the client's going to keep talking. How long you been living here locally for? Ask these type of questions. If you keep asking these type of questions, customer's going to keep answering your questions, and now you're in control of that conversation. And now all of a sudden you've gone from your sales office, now you're on the test drive, and you're doing the walk around, and now you're coming back, and now you can overcome the objections which you knew were going to come at the beginning, which is people always will want to know how much they want for their trade. People will always want to know what is the lowest monthly payment that they can get. But how do you bypass these objections? By asking questions. If you ask more questions, you will control the sale. And if you control the sale, you will have much less objections. Number 4, you gotta manage your time. Don't become a time waster, become a time manager. When I worked at the dealership, I always made sure there was no white space in my calendar. Okay? You go to your Google Calendar right now, no matter what it is that you're using. Guys, if it doesn't get scheduled, it doesn't get done. What time are you working on your service clients? Have you blocked off an hour specifically to call all the service customers? Have you blocked off a time specifically to do all of your Facebook posts? Have you blocked off a time specifically for your lunch? These kind of things, guys, they should be blocked off. And on your 8-hour day, if you're working 8 hours, and I've told you this before, if you want to work 12, 16 hours, you're a beast. You're a freaking animal. Do you need to work 12, 16 hours a day to make $100,000 income a year or more in car sales? No, you don't. You just need to be efficient with your time. You need to be a time manager, not a time waster. So on your calendar, there should be very little, next to none, white space. I want you to book everything. You're gonna have your appointments. Book them in your Google Calendar. You're gonna call your service customers. Block an hour off. Put your notifications off on your phone and do some dialed in work. Call those service customers. Facebook posts. What time of the day are you gonna do your Facebook posts? Put that in there. What time of the day are you going to do your follow-up? Put that in there. There should be no white space in your calendar. If you do this, you'll be so much more efficient and you'll find yourself wasting less time talking to the jabronis who are just hanging around the coffee machine, talking about the weather, why they're not selling cars, complaining about other salespeople, complaining about this guy because he's taking the most ups. You don't want to be around those types of conversations? Fill in your white space in your calendar and you'll see it'll completely change your car sales career. And that leads me to my next thing, DMAs. I love DMAs. What does that stand for? Daily monitoring activities. What are your daily monitoring activities every day? Meaning, what activities every single day are you monitoring specifically? For me, just to give you an example, the activities that I was monitoring every day was every single day, I had a goal of how many phone calls that I wanted to make. And that'd be 50 phone calls. I would want to make 50 phone calls every single day. That was one of the activities. I would not go home till I did those 50 phone calls. And the next thing that I did every single day, my daily monitoring activity, I would take photos of all the fresh trades that came in. That was my one non-negotiable every single day. I'd walk in the morning, go to the trade-in row. You should have a trade-in row as well. And I would take photos of all the fresh trades. I would take photos of all the fresh trades, post them on Facebook Marketplace, and I would ask a price from my manager. That was my non-negotiable every single day. My other activity that I had, 2 cars was my goal. So I would not want to leave the dealership till I sold 2 cars. Now, if I didn't end up selling 2 cars, as long as I made my 50 phone calls every single day and I worked on my Facebook Marketplace every single day, I was happy, because I might not have got the results that day, but I knew that was just an investment. I was just investing, and I knew investing, I was going to get that return. Either it was going to be the next day or the week after, but it was coming. Those are my daily non-negotiables. What are going to be your daily monitoring activities? For me, I would focus on phone calls. You gotta call customers. You gotta call your clients. You gotta call your service customers. You gotta do your follow-up. And for me, I found that 50 was a number that I could do consistently every single day. And I would feel good about achieving that. And Facebook Marketplace, I was all over it every single day. I would get fresh trades. I would post them right away. And if I didn't have any of our other inventory posted, I would also focus on getting at least 10 cars up if the trade-ins didn't fulfill that quota. But I always aimed for 10 cars every single day on Marketplace. And if you do that, you'll be well on your way to earning $100,000 income per year. Last but not least, if you're going to do all of these things, you got to master the phone. And the number one way to master the phone is just get on the phone. You'd be surprised how many people are so scared just to get on the phone. They don't even give it a chance, guys. And the mother of learning is failing. The best way to learn is through failure. And if you do it over and over and over again, you will get better on the phone. Should you know what to say on the phone? Yes, you do. And there are scripts out there for that. Guys, if you want to take your training to the next level, that's why I have my free community. In that free community, we do weekly calls every single week where I sit down with you, these types of common objections, what you're struggling with. I also have free courses on there that go into these objections specifically. So if you want to launch your career in car sales and get to 100K faster, I highly suggest you join my free community down there so we can work together and I can help you get to that coveted $100,000 income per year. But at the end of the day, you got to master the phone. And if you don't know how to master the phone, then learn. There's so many scripts out there that you can just learn how to overcome. There's so many scripts out there where you can learn how to call a service client. There's so many scripts out there where you can learn how to call a customer if you're trying to get them out of their trade, if you're trying to lower a customer's rate, if you're trying to call a lease customer whose lease is about to expire. There's so many scripts out there. But you got to start. You got to learn through failure. And if you do that, you will get better and better and better. The number one secret to being on the phone is confidence. And where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from doing something over and over and over again. Because what happens when you do something over and over again, you become comfortable now. And guess what the number one thing is that you're going to become comfortable with? Rejection. People feel rejection so much because it doesn't make them feel good. Look at social media. Most time, why are people on social media? Because they're just looking for acceptance. They're just looking for the likes. But what people hate is rejection. If you become comfortable with being rejected, you will become a master on the phone. So these skills that I went over with you today, guys, if you learn these skills and if you master these skills and you think about these every single day, you'll be well on your way to making $100,000 income per year in car sales. Hey guys, like I always say, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button and keep watching out for my videos. Until next time, see you later.